Hi, and this is Mike Garner from MrMikeGarner.com, and here's another top tip, a nugget of wisdom to help you overcome the obstacles that stand in the way of your health, happiness and success. And there's two elements to what I'm going to talk about briefly in this presentation, and it's all centered around a Buddhist expression, a quote, which is, Buddha said, it's our resistance to what is that gives us our suffering. I'll say that again. It's our resistance to what is that gives us our suffering. Now, resistance is our objection, our opposition, the friction that we create to situations that are just what they are. What is what is, it's happened, and we've got to get over it. There's words that aren't helpful when we are in dialogue, and as a therapist, and particularly an NLPer and a hypnotist, where language is the tool of my trade, vocabulary, I consider myself a wordsmith. I always watch the dialogue of people coming in for my professional services. I listen to what they've got to say, because their dialogue drives their emotions, their body chemistry, their responses, their behaviours and their moods. And if you shift dialogue, if you say something different, you'll feel something different and you'll do something different. So listen to dialogue when you're engaging with people, and particularly listen to your own dialogue, because resistance is complaining, moaning, and really it's not helpful at all, because what is has happened. And these two words that I want to highlight is shouldn't, when we say that shouldn't have happened, or could have, that could have happened. And what could have happened and what should have happened, what might have happened, isn't relevant. It didn't happen. What is. What happened is where we are. In this present moment, whatever's going on in your life is your lot, and it's what you've got. So what should have happened and what could have happened and what might have happened is irrelevant. Now, you can moan and complain about that all day long, but it doesn't change that those things didn't happen. Those people didn't do what you expected. Those events didn't occur. Your outcomes didn't work out the way you wanted them to. And you've got what you've got with the people around you, with the people you trusted, with the people you loved, with people in general, situations in general, and things. Things are as they are. It just is. And what Buddha's saying in his quote is that it's our resistance to what is that gives us our suffering. Now, what's suffering? Well, suffering is unpleasant. And suffering is a choice, surprisingly, because we don't have to react in a way that gives us pain, emotional, mental, physical or spiritual anguish, frustrations, anxiety. We can adopt a more productive, a kinder, more constructive response. With practice, we can stop moaning and complaining and stop explaining and just accept what is. Because when we go into negative dialogue, it creates negative feelings because it's generated from negative thoughts. So you've got to, if you like, nip it in the bud, stop this tree, which psychologists call a poison tree, growing by checking yourself when you're moaning, complaining, or over-explaining, when you're protesting, when you're suffering. And all your suffering pretty much is generated from you, within you. It comes because of you. Now, obviously, people can do things to you, but, unless somebody headbutts you or kicks you in the undescribables, unless you're in a fight, then it's just words. And there's this wonderful expression that I learnt in primary school, which is sticks and stones might break my bones, but words cannot harm me. So words and actions, unless it's actually restraining you, physically assaulting you, limiting you, then it's not going to kill you. But you can kill yourself with your suffering that you create in your response. So what should have happened, what could have happened, what might have happened, didn't. What did happen, did. It's what is, and you've got to go with the flow. Quite often what happens is a lesson for you to take some wisdom from, and we'll talk about that again. Quite often what did happen, you'll find down the road is better than what you planned to happen. I've failed in lots of things, and the outcomes have been better than maybe the things that I planned not to fail in. Most of my disasters and the things that have happened to me have been doors of opportunity that have changed the direction of my life. And in that moment I didn't want it, but now looking back, it was the best thing that's ever happened. And I could have moaned and complained about that and spoilt my day. And really looking back, that was the best day of my life, because it created a change of direction that's got me to where I am now. So don't judge, don't moan, don't complain, and don't suffer. My dad had a fantastic expression. I think my dad had some good expressions, a bit like Buddha did, and I'm passing them on to you, plus my own wisdom. And he said to me, he said, you know, son, he said, there's an expression which is, one day you'll laugh about this. Now, how many times have you heard that said? You know, let it go, one day you'll look back, and all this drama, all this trauma, all these bad things, negative things, disasters, you'll actually laugh about, because you'll be in a better place, and you'll look back and you'll laugh about how you reacted, how you spat your dummy out, how it made you ill, and you'll have some perspective around it. Now, my dad added to the fact that you'll laugh about it in the future, and he said to me, he said, laugh twice, laugh now and laugh again in the future. So when something bad happens, when something happens that you perceive you're a victim to and you're going to go into suffering, don't suffer, laugh. Step back, get control, get some balance, and laugh at it. Because in the future, you'll laugh again, so laugh twice. Now, it's not always possible or mature to laugh at real tragedy, but I'm talking about a lot of the little stuff that winds us up that we should maturely cope more constructively with. And when you think about it, a lot of the stuff that puts us into suffering is the little stuff. Have you noticed? Well, I'll give you an example from my life. You know, you cope with the big stuff, losing jobs, divorce, bereavement, and, you know, you stiff up a lip or you pull your socks up and do all these things, and I've got loads of techniques as well. And then you go and lose your keys, or you lose your mobile phone, and you fly off the handle. What's that about? You know, we deal with the big stuff, and then, you know, you drop 10 pence and you can't find it, and, you know, you're looking around like a headless chicken, when you've probably spent £80 on a silly meal and a couple of cocktails the night before, and you're going mad for 10p. So it's very often the little stuff that gets to you and creates your suffering, as well as the big stuff, which I do appreciate, and I'm not patronising. But get some perspective around it, and take my dad's advice, shift into laughter now, because in the future you'll laugh at it, so you might as well have a good laugh now. Stop saying what should have happened, what could have happened. What happens is just what happens. And really, should have and could have is only your perception. You have expectations. You think that certain outcomes are going to happen, and they didn't. And whose fault's that? These people that let you down, I know they probably said they weren't going to, but until something happens, I don't celebrate it too quickly. I wait and see. I keep my balance, and when somebody promises to do something for me, I'm very grateful when they do, and I express my gratitude and I thank them for it and often reward them for it. But I've had lots of letdowns from people who've said things and not done things, who promise things and then don't do those things. And I'm not surprised anymore. I've gone into balanced acceptance when people make promises and balanced response when they let me down. Because I'm sort of not cynical, but I rely on myself. I'm independent of the good and bad opinion of others, and I'm independent of, if you like, other people controlling me or trying to do something for me and win my favour. So if somebody does something heartfelt, kindly, lovingly, I'm ever so grateful, and I honour and thank them and thank the universe for bringing them into my life. But there's very few people who follow through with what they say they're going to do. I love these little rhymes. And at the end of the day, I've probably got a handful of people, and not all of them in my family, who will step up for me and give me what I would do for them. Because most people are singularly quite selfish. So when you're let down and you say that should have happened, that could have happened, that's what I wanted to happen. It's your expectation. So don't have that expectation, because that's your fault. That's your standards that you're imposing on somebody else. And they're not a carbon copy of you. Quite often people can't live up to your standards. And it is your standards. Now, I'm not asking you to lower your standards, always improve your standards, but understand that some people say things and don't do things. Maybe you've done that in the past. So forgive yourself for every time you've let yourself down, let others down, and forgive others for letting you down. But don't go into frustration, anger, anxiety, suffering. It just is. This is the world. It's a classroom, it's a playground, it's a circus, it's a pantomime. But it can be great fun if you just have a balanced life and make a decision now that whatever comes at you, the only thing that comes from you is laughter, love, kindness and compassion. And on that, I'll close. This is Mike Garner with this last top tip, which I think is top tip number 11, which is understand that it's our response to what is that gives us our suffering. And if you decide today to respond in a mature way, that rhymes, then you'll have a far better life. If you want me or any of my services, you know where I am. Have a great day. Bye for now.